there, my mayoral types. Welcome to Deadman Streaming and Cities Skylines 2, and I've got some great news for you. Just this morning, January the whatever the heck today is, January the 27th. First of all, thank all. This month is just about over. I think we can all say that at this point. This morning, January 27th, they released a brand new DLC for us, and it is the Eastern European DLC with a host of buildings that are absolutely wonderful. Played around with them a little bit this morning in one of my other cities just to get an idea to see what we were going to build today, and oh my goodness. Not to sound completely fangirly over buildings in a building sim, but I think you're going to like these, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I like them. Now, with that said, today, as I do this live stream, it is January the 27th, and if you are watching this on my YouTube channel, you're probably already well aware of the new buildings. And if you are, hey, you know what? That is awesome. I hope you guys have had fun with them so far. If you're brand new to this, then probably not. I think this is like video number 13, I think 13 or 14. And the YouTube channel is currently up to, what's the YouTube channel at? 6 or 7 at best. So YouTube, you're a little bit far behind. I'm sorry, I'm working on it. Because I'm not streaming every day, I'm sort of allowing for a lag to come in. All right, before we begin, of course, if you don't know me, my name is Josh. I started this series with a focus on finding ways to teach new players how to play Cities Skylines 2, how to get involved in a new city, how to start leveling up, how to earn a profit. And now I've moved on from that because we are turning a profit. Show you guys, what to do. What are some of the later features that are coming up? And in our last stream, we played around a little bit. We've got a cargo harbor built with 2 warehouses and an extra set of cranes. We went ahead and established a shipping route heading to the south off to, I have no idea where, Naylor. And then another shipping route that's going off to, heck if I know. Where is it going off to? There it is. It's going off to Arngard. Okay. So we do have now seaborne imports and exports coming in from our southern shores. And later on, we'll combine that with imports and exports coming to our northern shores. So we now have a new way to gain cargo, whether we're exporting or importing. It'll make our commercial and industrial zones a lot happier. And that follows with our train lines and our highway system. And the perk of this thing is that it does come with a train line setup as well. And like our other cargo lines, it goes straight in. The only bit of detailing we did around this was that I went ahead and added a transformer station on this side. Then when you come over here, we went ahead and connected in this rail line, and we had some trouble with it. Trouble that caused me to crash 3 separate times. But our historic central station now has a full loop around the city, and it has an entrance exit transit line going to our western side of the map over there. But it does circle around, and it does click off of our regular train station and our local train station up here. The good news is that while the new DLC did drop a new train station, it's nothing that's going to make me go, man, I want to tear this down, because I don't, and I'm not going to. And finally, in that little bit of off time as I was fixing this glitch, I went ahead and put in our German department store over here directly across from this rail station just for looks. But we were getting notices that, hey, you're not having people visiting because there's no people down here to want to visit it, which honestly is perfectly logical as far as I'm concerned. Now, if I recall correctly, we did have a garbage problem, and we solved that with the new recycling center. And that's about the point that we took off for the day, because I wasn't sure what the DLC was going to give us, and I didn't want to go overboard with our build. First thing I'm going to do, I did notice, looking at a distance, we've got this weird connection right here. I'm going to unpause the game, because we're going to need some money. And the first thing that happens when you unpause after new DLC is if new signature buildings are unlocked, you get them. And this one we've got the Eastern European Office, an office building inspired by Eastern European architecture. This is the dull one. I'll show you the good one. There are two primary buildings that came out with this that I am absolutely in love with. I played with them for a little bit this morning, and now I get to play with them with you. Take that as I say it. Okay, did we fix that? Get rid of that lumpy, bumpy weirdness? Yeah, kind of did. Okay, because it is 6 o'clock in the morning, we should be getting daylight here any second now. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is this dead area up here where we planned to do development, but we never got around to doing any development. And then as you come down here, you're seeing some open holes where this was a highway connection. Then we decided to change the whole network setup. And then this area down here that we said we were going to build a whole lot of stuff in, and we haven't gotten there yet. And we're getting, honestly, we're going to do that all today before we install our harbor down, because the harbor is going to take a whole solid episode in and of itself, and I want to play with these new buildings in the hour and a half that I've got you guys. So let's get on with it. The very first thing I'm doing, though, is I'm popping over to progression, because there's something in here that I want, and that was not to answer the phone. Hang on just a second while we let the city grow. If I can figure out how to send a text on my phone. Okay, ignoring all that and letting us get some extra money coming in. Sorry, everybody. This is the joy of doing things live, uncensored, unfiltered, and with easy access for other people to call me. Let's also put my phone on mute. Okay. 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 All right. Now that we've done that, I'm going to go over here to our development policies and show you what I am after right now. None of these things. None of these things. I want the Disease Control Center, which is a building we talked about earlier, and I'm going to give you guys a refresher on it. We're not going to be building it right now. Well, if we're not building it right now, I'm not getting it. Do I care about anything else at the moment? Sorta. Go ahead and get that. And let's unlock the rest of these as well. Okay, that leaves us with 7 development points for later. We do have tourist attractions unlocked. That's good. I'm not even going to talk about airports for a while yet. I think we're okay. Unless, do I want to start? Nah. No, I do not want to start doing that. And do we have everything under roads? Everything but underground parking building. Snap that up too. Okay, so we snapped up a few things. Here's what the building that I fell in love with earlier. The Disease Control Center, as it stands right before this morning, is this weird little round building development. It's cool. It's interesting. I like it. I always use it, and it has a major perk to it in that it decreases the disease infection risk in your city and decreases the health effects from pollution. The former, I honestly don't know how it affects the overall health of the city. I'm assuming it makes people healthier. The second one is a major thing because you forget, even though we're not putting residential buildings right over here, right in the middle of our industrial row or anything like that, we are putting our residential buildings by necessity up next to commercial buildings and other things that generate noise pollution. And all of these noise pollution things, be it they farms, be it they train stations, be it they even things like the Citizen Service Center, a university, soccer field, or a school all generate noise pollution, and it can have a negative impact on our citizens as they live and work in the city. Now, our average noise pollution is only about 13%, so that's not bad. But as somebody who lives directly next to rail tracks in real life, it doesn't take much. It does not. The Ohio River froze over earlier this week, and the barges trying to push through that were so loud I couldn't sleep at one point this weekend. So, um, that building would solve our problem, and it was something that I was going to pick up eventually, anyways, until the new patch. And then they drop this same building that does the same thing, and I'm assuming the effects stack because we can build two of them, or at least I could build two of them in my other city. This thing is huge, it is gorgeous, and it is the kind of thing that you build a city around. And I say that because I built a city around it this morning playing around. There's We're going to struggle to find a place to put it in this development area. But it is going to become a centerpiece thing, and it's something that I'm looking forward to sneaking in maybe over here along the shoreline or something of that nature, because it is just so cool. This is going to be something we put in the city very soon. But before we do that, let me show you a couple of other nifty things that came out with today's patch. Starting with the Eastern European Elementary School, which is super small, super tiny, packs in a whopping 100 students, and that's it. So, no. Then the slightly larger elementary school, which looks just like what would happen if you stacked up about 4 cardboard boxes end to end. It packs in 1,500 students, like the city elementary school, but with a bigger footprint. And while, I think this is actually really solid for a building. There's no real question for me for that. The fact that you can't upgrade it, but you can upgrade the other, sort of, I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. That said, it's otherwise the same cost. Finally, we get down to, well, not finally, but then we get down to the Eastern European High School, which is very similar to some of the other education buildings, especially the French style ones. It can pack in 800 students compared to the city high school, which also does 800, and we've already got a city high school up here. So take a look at that versus that. I mean, it's the same general concept. Then moving on, they also gave us, did we get a college? I thought we did. Check. Yeah, we did get a college. So compare this to that modern architecture one up there. Again, it's more of a block. And hey, you know what? This is Soviet architecture we're talking about, Soviet era architecture. It's all blocks. I mean, open a history book. It's all blocks. So while I do need some more education buildings up here, I don't necessarily need those. Let me go ahead and dig out another school, though. I will go ahead and settle for the Eastern European Elementary School. And we're going to sneak it in over here next to these office buildings. Or what do we got? We've already got a school right there. We've got 2 more city schools up there. Education for us shouldn't be an issue, yet it is. Because we've got a city school there, we've got 2 schools there, and yet this game is still telling me we've got, in a city of 63,000 people, that 20,000 of them need to be in school. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but I know that it's going to hurt us because the lesser educated our citizens are, the lower our office demand is going to be. And so it's sort of a, damned if you do, damned if you don't, for lack of any other way to phrase it. So let's take a look. What can we sacrifice? What real estate can we pop in? I'm against the idea of putting a school right next to a highway. That just, I don't know. For some reason, it feels kind of weird. Because of the boxy nature of this school, though, I think it'll fit in kind of okay over here next to our university. Maybe even directly behind it. we do that? Let's see. And so it looks more like part of our education campus over here. We'll set it there and then come at it with an alley back this way. Just let that alley drag off further and get it to focus on this. But again, we can't upgrade it. So what you see on this is what you get. There's no more changes. That also means that these kids don't get a playground that I can see for an elementary school, which is kind of sad. We'll fix that. We'll grab one out of our parks department. And they changed the icons for parks department. So they're now over here on that. And it's throwing me off, guys. It is throwing me off. All right, so our large playground is not that large. I'm going to stick it there, take our alley tool, and I am using alley instead of walkway. We'll see vehicles on this. Go back, stick in a second playground right there, finish up this alley, run it over. Come on, run it over. Okay. We really could have made that a pedestrian path. Either way, it's not going to break anything. In fact, let's see, can we make it a pedestrian path? Yeah, that looks better anyways. Okay. And so since we're keeping it on concrete, it still sort of keeps the whole Soviet thing. And let me give over here to small parks. And can we fit a wide pocket? No. Urban parkettes, maybe. Sort of round that out. Yeah. Yeah, that should be okay. I like that. Do I have a 1 square park is my question. Tiny. I do, but it won't fit. Why won't you fit? Take off road snapping. Take off road snapping, then I have to physically pick up my mouse. I don't know. It says it won't fit. I'm not going to spend 30 minutes fighting it. I'm just going to come over here. We're going to grab a gazebo out of the... where are the gazebos? Or play cabin's a little too small. Not putting a hot tub behind the school, but a UK style garden room. One of the bigger ones, too big. Never too early to teach your kids about gardening, and I'm looking forward to starting mine up. Okay, but that went ahead and automatically just practically filled up on the spot. I don't know what that's going to do for our education totals in town. It's an improvement, but it's still saying that I'm under capacity by some absurd amount. I really don't have any remaining good places to put schools, even if we go for this tiny 100-person elementary school. In fact, that's not even a drop in the bucket for us. And this city elementary is the best footprint size for any school whatsoever. I guess we'll stick it back here because we're about to invest in a lot of extra students coming into town, as it so happens. Although it comes at a certain point that the game's demands so aggressively irritate, the idea of normalcy that there's no point in trying to adhere to them. And we're really at that point about now, at least in terms of schools and things. So let's just focus on what we can do to mitigate some of these problems. We'll slip in a perk right there. I think that should be good. Um, Now, let me show you the other thing that's really got me excited aside from that major medical center. If we come over to our residential stuff, we've got brand new residential buildings. These are a mix. Some of them are very colorful, some of them are very drab. City Planner Plays did an outstanding video breaking down the contents of this pack this morning. He also did one for all the other packs, so if you get a chance and you really haven't explored these, I would really check him out because he does a lot of stuff with Move It and Plop It and some of the other game modifying things, whereas I just let things sort of grow in and, you know, call a game a game. Let the game's logic dictate it. But one thing that they did that I love is the new Eastern European high density housing. Some perks to this and one downside. The perk is that right now, when we have our medium density or mixed housing, as you can see, it comes up a good way. I mean, they're decent sized apartment complexes. They're what you'd expect to see around, you know, Chicago or the outskirts of LA or, you know, midtown like locations. Then when you look at these are high density office buildings. These are legitimate skyscrapers. They are going up. What, how many stories do you think that is? You know, I'm not going to guess. I'm not going to try to count all of those, but that's 40 stories ish, give or take. I'm guessing, maybe. And it goes from mid apartment to skyscraper. And the same thing happens with high density residential. In fact, I'm going to show you that right here. While I don't want to put a lot of high density residential right on our big roads, this side street's going to do more than enough for us in this example. And it's a good place to put a building anyways. So let's get a pathway. And I want this to be a 6 unit deep. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Count that down. Drag that over. Force some zoning. Across this whole block, like we've done elsewhere. The same thing right there. I absolutely don't want it to develop right on the corner. Okay, now that we've done that, what happens if I get rid of that? Does that open that corner? No. Okay, so this is standard. Let me make sure I select the right one. We're about to put down North American high density housing right over here. And then you're going to see the size of these skyscrapers because that's what they are. These are going to be skyscrapers. And you're going to be able to see the drastic difference between these skyscrapers and the skyscrapers we get with the high density Eastern European and our mid density. So let's let them develop. And while they do, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pick a plot of land and I'm going to say this is where we're going to start our shift for our city away from suburbia, farmland, moving in to mid, and then from mid to high density as we just sort of scoot around here, get closer to the college areas. So let's go ahead. That looks like a great spot right there. That looks like a good spot. These look like a good spot. That looks valid. We'll go ahead and drop one more there. And then we'll put in some mixed housings here in the back. And then while we do that, we'll also go ahead and put in a little bit of the Eastern European medium density housing so you can see how, ooh, that's more than I wanted. Oh, shoot, I've done something terrible. What did I do? I clicked buttons. Okay, really quick. So that's French row homes. We have to fix that. I don't want to lose them. We accidentally just zoned the wrong thing. So let's go over here to French, medium density, row housing. Okay, that's corrected. And then what are these? These are just light office buildings. Okay. Didn't mean to do that. We corrected. So Eastern European, medium density. We'll use our marquee selector tool and fill in and then fill in back behind those skyscrapers. Okay, now all we got to do is speed up the sim and wait. Now, just remember where this is because I'm going to move down back towards the coastline and get to work trying to preemptively solve what's going to be an education nightmare. So, all right. I do want to build some additional schools down here, and we're just going to be using the city elementary schools. There's no sense in this not to. We're going to focus on putting them on the roads, and I'm going to be kind of liberal with this. We've got the money, so let's go ahead and make some solid investments in education and solid investments in operating districts. I just kicked 334 kids out of school. Oh well. Sorry, kids. Now, this isn't going to do anything down here until we start zoning in actual buildings, but gonna sort of live with it. Because right now, we are building a city down here. We're not building a neighborhood. We're building a whole city. We're on different side of the tracks, and we're going for it. So we need to put in brand new service buildings down here. 2 schools is going to be enough. Pretty much 1 school on this side, 1 school on this side. If we continue, we'll add another school down here eventually. Then we need to look at fire. I think we may have already talked about fire. We do have this fire station up here. This is the urban fire station. Oh, it comes with a perk I didn't install. We didn't build the on-site training facility, which gives it 2 more fire engines. And for some reason, destroyed a building. Nodes in this game, man, are so weird. Okay. I'm not even going to try to figure it out. So we are focusing on making investments down here, just sort of building things up. We got a brand new fire station with this pack, and it's big. That's about all I can say about it. Does have a garage and helipad. Does cost $1.5 million flat, so how about not? Then there's a smaller firehouse that's got very few upgrades, and I think we can sort of slip that in over here near our city hall area and have that be okay. Those offices won't like it so much, but they'll live. Okay. And so far so good. We don't need to invest some money in that right now. So that gives us an extra fire station. Now, I'm not going to worry about setting an operating district for fire. It's just pointless. Finally, we do have the problem of police. And I know we talked about this yesterday. The police building that I want to build is this because it is huge. It is a standout. It is a business-style skyscraper. The question is where? And I'm going to zone out a little bit because we've now clocked back over 2 million. So I'm going to zone out a little bit, and then I'm going to look and see if I can get away with putting it down closer to the coastline, and it looks like I can. If I do, I still get full police coverage. So let me think about where a good place for a major police headquarters would be. We do have this over here, our city hall. We've got a major department store. We've got rail. We've got our major hospital right over here. We'll be developing high-density residential and commercial all through down here as we come down. The city's going to grow around the highway, for lack of any other better phrasing. I would say that it will look fine, or at the very least, we can develop around having it, I would say, off to the side. I think a public service building over here is going to be good. So let's map out an edge real fast. It's not necessarily going to match up with our existing mega intersection over here, and it doesn't have to. But I do want it to keep on a 90-degree angle right there. And we can, let's see. bringing it up to about a 130. There, a 90 degree off of that highway junction isn't going to be our worst decision, I don't think. Okay. Not the worst decision. Not the best, not the worst. And then this can then connect. We'll bring it over here through the woods. But it's not going to connect to that, no matter what we do, without breaking literally everything, and I'm just not. What I can do is to bring it here. Ah, fudge. Here we go. Have it connect right there. Try to keep about a 145 degree angle, coming up to where that's already sort of zone broken right there. Done. Okay. And then lastly, we've got that 2-lane right there. I am so not looking forward to coming through and correcting all of these little junctions. Well, let's break that then. That's not quite right. We'll put an intersection right here at the mouth of this. Okay, keeping that at 180. Keeping that as a 6-lane. Bringing that at a 135 degree angle. If we have to readjust, we readjust. Come on, give me my 180. Give it to me. Do you not want to give me that 90 right there, do you? Rude. Making me work for it. Then we get that 4-lane. Again. Oh, sorry, 6-lane. Stay on the 6-lane. And fixed, and delete that unnecessary little bit. However, that does give us a walking path addition we can connect. So landscaping. And hey, now that's now connected to another major thoroughfare. We're good. Okay, so far, so awesome. Oh, another place we can connect while I'm looking at it. We do have a walking path right here underneath all this rail. So let's grab it. Drag it out. Drag it all the way. Drag it down another square, I guess. Drag it all the way down behind. And hook it up right over here now. There's a walkway from rail station all the way up to beyond this intersection. And that'll save us some walker headache traffic in the future. Trust me. Go ahead and do the same on that side as well. So now you can, should you wish, leave the Citizen Service Center and City Hall, walk, cross an intersection, but then walk without ever setting foot on a street again, all the way down to the historic Central Station. That's good walkability, especially when you consider that path extends all the way up here. We haven't done anything to get it past the highway, but we've gotten it that far. That's a good thing. All right, now time for us to take a look at our high density residential. This one is small. It only had a space of, what, 3 squares to work with, 3 by 6, so it's zoned in kind of small. But these skyrise, you actually put the skylines in Cities Skylines, are almost as tall as these office buildings. They can pack in, well, 442 residents, which you can start to understand the difference in scope between 400 and, well, give me a second, 442 versus one of our smaller medium residential complexes of 218. It just goes up, it doubles, but it looks a lot taller. And that's where things get sort of lost for me because our mediums are, well, excuse me, our mediums are right over here. You can see the height difference between that and that. And it's such a huge stepping stone that for me, it's always sort of thrown me off because you don't want to have a massive skyscraper of this size right on a riverfront. It's going to look a little weird. They're going to be off by a good bit in real life. They're going to have a great view, but they're not going to be waterfront properties. They may be close to the waterfront, but not on the waterfront. Typically, you'd have smaller buildings because you don't want to risk having flooding or having the underpinnings break away. And that brings us to these, our new high density Eastern European style residential buildings. And I've put them strategically right over here next to a bunch of medium density buildings and mixed use commercial. They are roughly the same height, slightly bigger, and they are definitely apartment complex shaped, for lack of a better word. They sort of stand out in the way that they're constructed. It's got that more brutalist design rather than the classical, American square. And this is pretty good. I mean, this is the medium density, high density. So we can still plan for high density buildings along a waterfront without them being super massive. To me, this is a tremendous victory and something that I'm very, very happy about. I'm very happy to show you guys that. It's something that's going to make a big difference for a lot of planning. So I'll be able to focus on doing larger skyscrapers here towards the middle and then still do high density residential down on the coast and not be overly dramatic with it, I guess, for a lack of a better term. But speaking of overly dramatic, police. Let's finish getting this police station installed. We gridded out this way a little bit, so let's go ahead and take a peek where we're going to want this. Kind of want to set it here and then do something with decorations. So let's line it up with this. And you may notice I want all of these buildings, with the exception of this one, facing the coastline. And that's a me style thing. Your mileage on that may vary. All right. So we've got a 4-lane road right here. Let's drag it in front. Drag it over. And we now have excellent police coverage everywhere. A couple more things we can do with this. This will grant us an extra 5 patrol cars for another 200,000. We'll take it. And this gives us a helipad, which again is a big plus for the city. Now our city's crime rate, which was already minor to begin with, is going to drop to next to nothing. It's already at next to nothing apparently. One thing that police are very good for in this game, aside from this, and this is in no means meant disrespectful, police are your first responders for traffic accidents, and we have a lot of traffic accidents in this city. They'll get worse as we have more people coming into the city. It's just the way the game works. And you do need to have police responding to those traffic accidents. I'm not saying that's the only thing that they're good for, but it is a major part of Cities Skylines too. Okay, but it looks like we do have a small grid over here of 4-lane traffic by the hospital. We can almost get that to connect perfectly with this intersection right over here. And I'm betting we could if we turn this into a roundabout, because that's just the way I cheese things out in this game. And I was right. There we go. And what's it look like? 'Cause I think I gave a second one over here. Yeah, I think that should be good. No extra roundabout necessary, and now we've got a very, very buildable grid going on here. We don't have much in the way of parks, special buildings, signature buildings, or anything else like that, and we don't have any actual, producing buildings, but we've now established a good bit of this. Here's one thing to be watchful for, though. We have a traffic jam because we've had a traffic accident right here. This is one thing the simulation gets right. And I'm assuming this traffic accident is why we have people looking for hearses, because the hearses can't get through. The traffic jam would be my presumption, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm right. Let's take a look at our crematorium availability is tanking. Okay, let's fix that. Let's put down another crematorium. And this one's going to... We do have this cemetery up here. Let me go ahead and slip it in off to the side of our cemetery. Make sure it's only focusing on down here. I think that should be okay. Alright, and then there's no reason not to automatically upgrade your crematoriums. You know they're going to be busy. It's a fact of, we'll call it life. And we'll just sort of slide these into... Match that up. Go ahead and give it that additional incinerator. Okay, and now we'll let it do its thing. Okay, moving on. All these brand new souls coming into the city. Let's go ahead and finish zoning up this block now that you guys have had a chance to see what we're working with here and why I'm kind of happy about it. So we'll go ahead and fill in with more of the Eastern European high density and a little bit of the Eastern European mixed use. Just to fill some spots a little bit. And then over here, I'm going to slip in a large office tower back over here. This is overlooking a college. It's overlooking the city. It'd be, I would say, be like, oh hey, there's a corporate overlord tower, peering out over suburbia, or the bank wanted to put in a large banking plaza right over here next to a bunch of the urban apartment complexes and things. To me, that sounds completely reasonable. I've seen it in action in a couple places in my hometown. Okay, down over here for this mess though, what do we have? Oh, we've got a whole post office section here. That creates noise. People aren't going to want to live here. Let's slide in some North American high density business on one side and a little bit of light offices right over there. And one thing that we don't seem to have a lot of, and that I'm betting people are clamoring for, is parking. So we can do a small parking building. Now the problem is, because this is a 2-lane road, this is going to generate traffic when I put this down. We're going to make one adjustment to this 3-lane road really quick to try to cope with that in advance, but this is going to create a traffic jam as our citizens get used to it. I want to come over here to a 3-lane asymmetric road, and we're going to make sure that, there we go. Actually, we just want to make sure that this 3-lane asymmetric is lined up here with the parking garages. So they can pull in, they can do whatever. And between them, we'll stick a park. I think we've got a park that'll fit. Too big. Way too big. Well, not infinitely too big, but you get the gist where I was going with that. Large playground, not really impressing me. I have that off by a square, don't I? I do. Alright, so I'll just move this parking structure over one. It's going to annoy everybody, but whatever. These also will unfortunately create noise pollution, but welcome to the city. And And here I'll just use a pedestrian street. Coming in behind them. And nothing really needs to go there. I guess we can stick another pocket parks right through there. I think that should do. Okay, these small parking buildings cannot be upgraded, but it's additional parking. They can both pack in 42 vehicles each, and that'll make this a little more manageable traffic-wise than if we dropped it in a huge parking garage. So it's a help, not a permanent thing, and I really don't know what's keeping the hearses from coming over here, especially since we just put a new one down. So we'll just have to wait that out and hope that it's not a new glitch introduced into the game. Holy crap. Look at that death wave. That's terrifying. Healthcare availability is looking good. Our average health is at 69%, but our crematorium availability, we're just not handling enough people. Even though, as you can see, we've got hearses moving around through here like freaking Pac-Man. I don't know. Didn't think our city was that old for this to be that much of a problem, but it's acting like it legitimately is. So sometimes you just got to place what you got where you got it and hope it's enough to address your issues. Those are slowly getting knocked out. You know what? I'm going to hold off. Or better, what I'll do is I'll come over here next to our hospital complex. I'll go ahead and install a second. This one is only working as Strawberry Dreams. We'll go ahead and assign this one to work up here in Bedford Acres. Maybe that was the problem. But let's go ahead and give it its necessary hearses as well. Upgrade it. Normally, you would keep your service buildings in the same district they're servicing, but honestly, we're out of room, and this is getting kind of not ugly, but it's not good. Let's go with that. Okay. Let's finish up this block right here. Drag this out as much as we can. And then we'll fill in this with a couple more actual North American high-density buildings. And then I'm going to tell you the bad news. And it's really not that bad. It's just a game thing. So as we're placing these buildings, you do notice that North America, European, French, whatever, these aren't just designations that tell you what the style of the building is going to be. We've already discussed the difference between high-density European, high-density American. High-density European looks so much like high-density American that I can't tell the difference. The issue comes in with our signature buildings. Now I'm going to make sure that we have both European and North American flagged. So you know we've built a lot of low-density buildings. They're all the way up here. All of these are low-density residential buildings. That's what we start with. That's the very first thing we start with. But the game is telling us that we don't have any low-density buildings. We do. We have low-density North American buildings. We don't have more than 6 low-density European buildings. So when we choose our zoning, it does affect what our signature buildings are going to look like for our commercial and our residential and our mixed use. It drives me crazy. I feel like a building is a building is a building, and I shouldn't be limited on what rewards I get based off of what building choice I decided to go with for the paint job on the front door. And it sort of slows me down a little bit because in this case, medium density housing buildings for Rubrique Apartments, we've got 1628 of 2,500 cells, but we have very few in terms of medium density row housing buildings, or no European medium density buildings built. We just didn't zone for it. So while a lot of the sub buildings are hit or miss. We missed the opportunity to get some really special, cool things if we continue in this path. For things like missing the grass crown, which requires 200 high density European buildings. We'll be able to eventually get Colossal Tower, but which of these looks cooler? I know you can't really tell, but trust me, as cool as this is, it's not this. Now, we'll easily get Want to Be Tower and maybe the Century Castle. Getting Colossal Tower will take a while. Some of my larger cities don't have it at all because high density is not always the one thing you want to build. Um, we do get a few things automatically unlocked, though, regardless of things like the UK city apartments, which is nice in and of itself, I suppose. But we have the same issue over here with our mixed use. We've already put a couple of things down, so it's not that big of a deal. The French buildings unlock automatically, but we run into the same exact problem with commercial, where we're zoning for it, but we're not getting access to all of the things. And I sort of feel like that if I'm putting down Dutch themed buildings, I should be unlocking uh, the matching signature building for European style versus North America style. You know, a Dutch themed commercial zone should give me European auto center. But that's just not the way the game's built. So when you're building your city, keep in mind the difference of what your reward buildings may or may not look like, unless you want to go just completely insane and do your best to get, 200 uh, level 5 high density European and 200 level 5 high density North American. I'm pretty sure it's possible, but it would be a challenge. I applaud you if you get to do it, but you're in for a fight. Now, we did get two new buildings. We got this really tiny little Soviet style office building, which just, like, I think I've been to this building or something that was modeled directly after it. We also get this really cool, small but circular office tower that just looks really cool. We're not going to be charged for placing it, but I do want to put it down next to our harbor just for the looks. It's not going to have any effect on our harbor, but I do want it down there for the looks later. Okay. The only other signature buildings worth noting right now, Pharma is going to be something that we'll be building definitely in the future. We do need to have a medical university built first. We haven't gotten that far. And same thing with the oil refinery. It does require a technical university plus about 6,000 cells total for manufacturing. Now, the chemical plant, we can get there a little bit easier. It only takes 8,000 cells of industrial. We're already halfway there with the industrial we have down. Ground earth and paper factory take their respective 10 uh, uh, resource buildings like we did with the dairy farm and the mining briefly. We'll play around with that later. Okay, back to work. So my choice is either zone up here into this already apparently super clogged traffic nightmare. What's going on right here? I'm gonna delete that because it's making the game have a fit and a half. Because all of this traffic is all trying to get into that one turning lane to come off over here. And now you're starting to see some of the problems I mentioned with single point intersections. I'm willing to bet all this traffic wants to come down here into the new high density, medium density residential we built. And as a result, it's all just completely choking up over here. One thing we can do to fix this is to change this stoplight into a stop sign. It will make a minor difference. Maybe not a huge one. Let me take a look and see if I can safely convert this from 1 to 2. Like, I don't want to be the just add one more lane guy, but I do need to make sure that our traffic is flowing. Because up here our traffic's actually de-spawning a little bit, and while that's not going to hurt us, it just does, it covers up a problem rather than fixing it. And of course, all this traffic is coming down this way because this doesn't connect anywhere and we're planning on deleting it anyways. So this is just sort of the kind of thing we sort of have to just live with, wait out. Maybe trying to convert that to a small roundabout and then getting rid of that right there will go a long way. But even still, you can see how the game is getting confused at this node for reasons I don't understand. I don't think the game understands why it's getting confused, which is causing the traffic to choke up. But it's a game thing, and it's nothing that I can do to fix it. But hey, it's getting close to the time that I have to get ready to hop off, so what we've done today is mostly just residential development, which is good. Our city needed it, and in the process, we've taken a big hit on our income, but it's starting to recover. We've taken that big hit because we invested in new police, new but unused schools. Although, hey, that's good to know. We had 332 students jump in here without having any residential in this area. So, they jumped in before we could lock the district. I guess that's why. Okay, good to know. Same thing with the 15 over here. They jumped in before we could lock it to this district. All right. Let me place a couple of parks. Oh, we did unlock some new media, some new postal service buildings, and the server farm. Server farm is going to be something we're going to want to invest in sooner rather than later, especially as we're building up down here. It's going to drastically increase the coverage for our stuff. Looks like it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and add in a telecom tower or two, though. We've only got one telecom tower up there. We've got decent but not good coverage. And in this day and age, we all know how important that is. So let's boost that there, and then it's definitely going to need some coverage down here, so let's go ahead and get that. We can slip that over here next to that mega intersection safely. It's not going to bother anybody, and it's going to be in a really good spot for just coverage. We can do that. Then we'll come over here to mail. We have no mail coverage down here at all. The Eastern European Modernist Post Office is as Eastern European as it gets. We'll just slip that in here as middle-ish as possible. Again, costs us a lot of money, but it's going to be something we're going to be really happy we invested in. This one does give us an extension wing for additional vans and trucks. Let's put it down. And this one just increases our storage capacity pretty strong. Okay. And I'm just going to let it service the whole city. We'll have to put in a few local post offices here and there, but I think that's going to be pretty good. Okay. We should actually get postal trucks leaving this anytime now. I said we should get postal trucks leaving this anytime now. You lazies. Okay, so we've got all this area that is ripe for residential development. Let's start the residential development. No sense sitting on it any longer than we have. We're going to be doing a mix up here of, let's just click off that. We're going to go for medium density. Let's see. Yeah. North American medium density housing. We're going to pretty much be filling in these zone blocks with these. Some of these spots are going to be strictly residential. Some are going to be a mix of residential and commercial use. Anything that's next to the rail is going to be either straight commercial. Looks like we put in that mix right there. Or it's going to be office, and mostly light office. Back here, Got a new office building unlocked. That's nice. Principalis. Okay. Oh, reduces crime rate in the neighborhood. That's a good thing. Whoa, I don't know what happened, how that mass zoned all of that, but okay. And I'm going to sort of slip in a mix on our commercial of different building styles and types. And now that we've zoned in some medium density, let's get back over. I want a little. Actually, I want a little bit more medium density North American. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and start sprinkling in some high density as well. Especially, say, next to the City Hall. And one or two up next to those developments. And then finally, we're going to take a look at our large sports parks, because this should really, those alone should really help all of our income things come in. I'm thinking an American football field, a large one, that needs to be near all of this, needs to be near the schools, needs to be near the rest. Oh, that is a shame. This would be perfect, right? Oh, this is perfect right there. Okay, so that just ate up some residential complexes, but this puts it on a 4-lane, right behind our major 8-lane highway intersection, puts it right next to 2 walkable paths, the whole 9 yards. That couldn't have been done better if we tried. And I think, if I'm not crazy, I can put in a little bit of parking right there. Not that parking. Medium single, nope, still not. Small solar powered parking lot. Yep, small solar powered or canopy. We'll do canopy because we can fit at least that much in. Okay, not a lot of space, but hey, it's still something for parents getting into the stands. Do I want to slip in more parking over here? Kind of do. Kind of think that right here might be a good spot for a wide parking lot of sorts. Oh, it's not letting me. There's that broken node down there that's causing this. Is saying it's not going to let me zone anything right here. It's either fix it or ignore it. At the moment, I'm opting to. Oh, I'm going to try to ignore it, because if I get to work on it, we may end up regretting absolutely everything. Looks like we can get away with just zoning in some commercial and just forget that idea. But that does mean we do need to actually put in a decent sized parking lot somewhere over here. And I suspect that's going to fit in right there. Okay. Now, I'm not going to overbuild. Like, this in and of itself is probably overbuilding, getting all of this put in here. But we need money. We need to get back up over 100,000. We need to put these new service buildings to work, servicing the area. And the only way to do that is to do stuff like this. So let's just sit back, let the city grow for a minute. What do you say? We have an interesting error message. What is that? That error message says, pharmacy is running out of supplies. Well, that's not a good thing. And we've got a massive traffic snarl here. There's a traffic jam with our ambulances. What in... What the hell? Like, I don't have a nice way to phrase that. What if we gave that an extra? Did that do it? There was a broken building somewhere there causing that. Wow, that was wild. Like, if you've got a traffic jam at your hospital, you have other things going wrong with your day. I'm telling you this right now. What are you guys getting stuck on? Each other? You're getting stuck getting in and out of that parking. Bizarro land. Alright, well, we'll give it a few. And we're still having a lot of weird deaths up here. Crematorium availability is just not enough. Why in the world is it not enough when we've got a slew of hearses coming through here? Is it just because traffic? I don't know, but that tornado just made me panic. Well, I would say a decent part of this problem is due to traffic reasons. And of course, we have traffic problems because we've got new people moving into the city. It's just sort of a... You're starting to see where some of the traffic simulation issues come in. If your traffic isn't moving smoothly, nothing else is going to move smoothly either. And when nothing else moves easily, your city starts to fall apart at the seams. What are we getting hung up on, guys? And sometimes as you develop, you just get intersections that are more popular than you thought that they would be. And the question is, what do you do about it? Do you move a school? Delete a building? Replace it with a roundabout? Replace it with a side street? Do we dig underground here and put in a small tunnel leading from this intersection to this one, skipping all that, allowing this traffic to cut through up there where it seems to want to go? What are your best choices in a situation like this? And sometimes your best choice is to wait it out, which is what I'm going to do right this minute. But I can't ignore the fact that it is saying that we don't have enough crematoriums. No matter what I do, I can't ignore that, even though we seem to have crematoriums responding everywhere down here. If the game thinks that we don't have enough, then we do not have enough. I'm really worried that we're having this many deaths a month, though. That's not okay. Even with our average health still being at 70% and our healthcare availability being that high, we shouldn't have 1,000 people at this stage of the game dying. That said, they did recently tweak the death care in Cities Skylines 2, and it may just be that that is my problem right now. In fact, I'd almost be willing to bet on it. So, go ahead, we'll spend the money on another crematorium. As much as I do not want to, because now we have no real money left. Okay, your operating district has been assigned. Get to work. What did that do? Just out of curiosity. Not enough. Weird. Very weird. Not okay with it being that weird. I'm also not okay with the fact that we've dropped under 100,000. We haven't really recovered, but we are slowly waiting on that to increase. Okay, so we've mostly developed up this area. Looks like we've got room for some more. We've got demand anyways for more medium density and high density, so let's get to it. And I just want to have... Oh, that was the wrong button to press. Let me... Hang on a second. No, it's not gonna let me have just then, is it? Okay. So some medium density, medium density. I'll put a park right there. Medium, medium. I'm gonna sneak in some low density office, low density office. Then back here we'll put some more of this high density Eastern European. Right there on that block, we'll make sure that that is strictly commercial. Up through there. scoot in some high density office. Take a look over here. We're going to go with North American mixed housing. And then down on this major corridor, we want to make sure that those are high density office. Okay, that's some pretty heavy zoning. The only thing it's asking for right this moment is low density residential, and they're just going to have to keep asking. That's just the truth of that. Tough luck, kiddos. You're not getting no small rural parties down here. Now, again, we sit back, we let it develop up. Except for wherever I said I was going to put that park. Where did I say I was going to put a park? Right there. I think we'll stick in a community pool back this direction. Overlapping items with what? Where? Oh, walking path. And, hey, milestone 14 unlocked. We are now Grand City. Yay! We've also added about 20,000 people in the last 20 minutes, so I mean, we're doing something right. Our mixed use is flowing in. Our newest developments that we installed are starting to populate. This is good. Traffic doesn't seem to be throwing a complete fit. Cranky in some spots, I'm sure, but not a complete and total disaster. We've got some cool buildings popping up here and there. Okay. The extra Deathcare up there seemed to help. All right, let's take a fast look. How are we doing for water availability? Looks like we're good. Sewage treatment, also good. We're not trading water or exporting. Cool. How's our power doing? We're consuming 125 megawatts, producing 290. Still good. Still trading out 165 megawatts. Now, this number is going to slowly decrease. And as it does, we're going to lose money as our production is going away, but it is what it is. Okay, our fire coverage. The new fire department's doing its job. We're good. Police coverage. We've got 1% crime rate in the whole city. I think that is pretty solid. I'm just assuming. Average, let's take a look at our, let me take a look at our mass transit. This needs a bit of work, but I have a plan for that. But it's a plan that's bigger than what we can do today. Although, I can be talked into dropping a bus station. But once I do, I'm going to have to take off for the night. Yeah, it looks like we're good. And what's our leisure? Okay, our new developments have plenty of parks, so they're happy. Our older developments are nothing but parks. They're happy. Let's take a look at our city attractiveness, why don't we? That is going to be under tourism. City attractiveness right now is a whopping 27, so our city is really not that attractive. We don't have more than 58 tourists a month right now, so there's a lot to still be done for that. But let's take a look at our general. Yeah, we already checked out leisure. A lot of spots that aren't leisureful. We've got a lot of open roads we haven't really done a lot with. And in terms of our outside connections, we are heavily importing electronics, but we're exporting software. Okay, so we got some buildings we got to do. Let's take a look at our production, see what's being demanded. Are you kidding me? Huh? Hearst calls down here that one crematorium. This crematorium is not enough to handle all of this, apparently. So we're gonna have to go ahead and stick down another. Yeah, we're gonna have to put in another crematorium somewhere over here. I think a safe spot for it that's not going to be too disrespectful for our future plans is going to be I was trying to get it right there in that corner, but it's not going to fly. Let's take a quick look. Can we get a road coming down here? Just from crossing from one point to another. Looks like it to me. Healthcare. Deathcare. That'll fit. Sort of. Okay, we'll take it. Garage extension will go on the other side of that street. And operating district is this one. Okay. May you bring mercy to the lost. Okay. Can't do anything more about that. Then wait it out like we have. Hopefully we don't need a third one already. This is weird. Yeah. I said what I said. It is weird. Okay. What was I looking at? What was I looking at? I don't know. Oh yeah, we're heading to production. Okay, so we've got a surplus of wood, although not much of one. Surplus of grain. We've got a surplus of livestock, not much, but some. Surplus of vegetables, so our farming is doing good. We are surplusing out crude oil, good. And metal ore, okay, also kind of good. We are running a small deficit on coal and a larger deficit on stone. Lame. What are we not producing over here? We have got a surplus of metals, so that's all good. We are not doing enough in terms of software by any means. We're importing a whole lot of it. To make software, we need buildings that are focusing on, we're importing a lot of electronics. So it looks like we're missing, if we're making minerals and we're making plastics, but we're not producing electronics, then what we're lacking is actual industrial areas. That's something we can fix. We are exporting the crap out of automotives, thank you to our automotive department. And then we get down here to immaterial goods. We have got a massive surplus of software, of production, and all this. And you see what's making these. What's making these are service buildings, and that would be offices, small offices and large both. So, what this tells me is that we just don't have enough industry. We can take care of that really quick, and then I'm going to pop off for the night. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to Dead Men Streaming. I do appreciate your time, your patience, your understanding, and most importantly, I appreciate you. I'm not just saying that, I actually do. I love having the opportunity to show people how to do things that I love to do, whether it's cosplay, whether it's writing books, or whether it's spending a couple of hours on a city builder and talking until my jaw hurts. Not that my jaw's hurting. No, my jaw is actually hurting. All kidding aside, though, thank you very much for your time. I know you could have been doing almost anything else in the world, and sometimes this is exciting, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's educational, and sometimes it'll put you to sleep. Today could be a mix of either. Let's fill in. I do want to try one thing over here before I begin. I'm going to go to our concrete surface 01. Sounds like my EverQuest days. I'm hunting a large concrete surface 01. I'm going to drag it out all the way over here. Oh. Got to finish dragging it out, I suppose. Get that node buried under the sidewalk so we don't see it. Complete the area, fill that in. Can't do the drag tool over here because it will actually delete the surface we just put down. So it would have been better to delete these first. Okay, I screwed up. So let me just sort of drag and delete as many of these large trees as I can for this section. Because what I want to double check is something we experimented with earlier, and I'm going to see if it works, and we'll learn together in real time. bit bigger than I want this industrial area to be. And it will build these buildings on top of those concrete pads. That's good to know. All right, don't know how much of those concrete pads we're going to see underneath of those buildings, but you can definitely tell there is a major demand for industrial. And the reason why I'm sticking it over here instead of closer to our residential is because this is directly across from our cargo harbor, which is complaining about a lack of trash picks up, and I thought we'd already handled that. Did I not? Well, it's got 25 to 25 vehicles out and collecting already. Ooh, we may run into some trash problems too. We'll see how that goes. And we're still hoping that the hearse issue gets resolved over here. But we are making ludicrous amounts of money again. So we're already back up to 134,000 an hour, and that's because we've had so many people move in. We jumped up an extra 20,000 people, which is the bit of zoning we did up here, the good bit of zoning we did down there. I can already tell though, oh yeah, look at our high school. Our high school's a big problem. We're almost 2,400 short. So let's get a big high school. That's the biggest we can get. That one deals with 2,000-ish students. Oh, the Eastern European College can handle, I'll say college. Yeah, not a high school. Eastern European High School only takes 800. The City High School takes 800. The Modern takes 17,500. That's much better. So let's find a good spot for this that'll service all of these wonderful kids in our new residential township area. Let's stick it next to... No, it's not going to let me stick it right behind that. It's getting tied up in the train tracks. Okay, we'll go ahead and slip it in sort of off to the side over here, I think. Make sure that we're not completely under that. And I'm going to take a look and see what upgrades we have. This one will add an extra 1,000 onto student capacity. That's good. And we can place it wherever. This one increases health and well-being. Okay, and this is just a straight up a dormitory for the high school by adding an extra 200. Okay, can I build more than one extra teaching building is going to be my question. And since I can build this away from that, let's do just that. And then let's go back over here to this modern high school. I'm going to set it on that side. And then, we can extend it past. So I'm going to slip those a little bit away from everything. Same thing with that smaller student extension. Give it a student dormitory right there, and can't really go further. It'd be nice to wiggle this right there. So let's delete this path eventually. That's the teaching building. It's outside the edge. Well, let's put that path back then. I tried. And then I guess I'm going to stick a park here. Looks like we're going to have to delete that pathway anyways. Be that way. And then I'll replace that pathway. Because I'm going to be that way. Fixed. Okay, so this extra high school right here with a bunch of extensions, 3,950 students eligible. What does that do for our education problem? Let's take a peek. Fixed it. Still have elementary issues. We always have elementary issues. It's just a question of how many elementary issues do we wish to put up with. I wish I thought about putting this building here first. Unfortunately now, if we move this, if I come over here, I cannot move just this building, because this is the base building. It's going to move all the other buildings as well. We can move these separately, but we cannot, I don't think. Can we move the main? Yeah, we cannot move the actual building itself without moving everything else around it. I know. Did it say 76? It was supposed to say Skylines. I updated it. Hey, Ryoko. Yeah, you came on just in time for me to head off, so sorry. We can go ahead and not fit in our city high school right there. Oh, so yes, there we go. Okay, so once more, another education complex in the middle of the city next to every other education complex we have in the city, because that's just the way the city seems to work. Wow, it does say we're going back to the wasteland. Why didn't it update? I'll bet it didn't update any of it. I bet Twitch thinks I'm streaming Fallout. Well, explains explains why the channel's been so dead tonight. Usually I get a few people. All right. Anyways, with all this new stuff built, with our new downtown city core starting, with all of these weird, unexplainable deaths that have been happening in the city since we started today, sheesh. With another crematorium, that's what, our 5th crematorium of the day? Just to try to keep up with this glitch? A crematorium right next to the police department feels a little weird, but I need it, and I need it to work, and I need it to work right now, so we're gonna take it. And then there we go, and our crematorium availability is still low, but at least they're shooting out like hungry little Pac-Man going for corpses, so we have something going for us, at least in that direction. Notably hearses. Alright, let's drag this road down. Let's not leave a dead end. That will drive me insane. So I don't want to be thinking about this at 3 o'clock in the morning, like I do sometimes, because I am that way. And we'll fill in this line right over here. Alright, join me for our next episode of Dead Men streaming with Cities Skylines 2, whenever I stream Cities Skylines 2 next, maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, who knows, as I take a solid look at adding a brand new transit system in here. We've got 2 different ones to choose from. We can start with subways, which do get expensive fast. Something about digging under the ground. Can't imagine why that wouldn't be cheap. Or we'll put in our tram network, which is not something I do a whole lot of, but hey, you know what? When the glorified bus station fits, we use it. And hey, take a look. The glorified bus station happens to fit, so we'll use it. Okay, be careful out there, everybody. Be safe, be happy, be good at what you do, and I will see you soon. Don't forget to give me a follow. Don't forget to give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe, or whatever it is you have to do on whichever platform you see it. Take care, and I'll see you all again soon.